coming up on episode 82 of Creative Writing, I am talking about how to tell what worked for you last year so that you can plan your calendar for this year.
I can't go back to sleep, it's almost light. These restless thoughts have kept me up again tonight.
Hello and welcome to Creative Writing, the podcast for writers, bloggers, and creatives who want to build an online platform without being smarmy. I'm your host, Kirsten Oliphant, and I'm so glad that you are here. Whether you're a first-time listener or you listen every single week or every single episode, because this week there are multiple episodes, I'm really glad that you're here. Now, this week is a little different. So if you're joining us for the first time or you've missed a few episodes, here is what I am doing. I started something called the January Kickstart, and you can sign up for this if you go to creativewriting.com/kickstart. If you're already on my list, you already heard about this. So check your email, make sure you got it. You can just click a link in there that will tag you, so you'll be getting the emails. What I'm doing is every day I've been going live in the Facebook community and talking about one quick win that you can do. And the reason for this, if you go back and listen to episode 80, I talk more in depth. But if we can start off the year with quick wins, things that we accomplish and can feel good about, our momentum will keep moving forward. Whereas sometimes we put too much of a burden on January. We have all these resolutions that are huge for the whole year, and then we maybe fail on day 2, and then we just kind of peter out and don't finish our resolutions. So we've been doing quick wins. There's a worksheet for every single day, and the plan was to do a podcast episode for every single day. That did not happen on Wednesday, so I missed an episode. I'm putting 2 together today, and they go really well together. They're actually the 2 days that go together the most, and that's dealing with what worked for you last year so you can plan your calendar for this year. Before we dive into that, I want to thank our sponsor, ConvertKit. And if you want to get a free trial of ConvertKit, my favorite email service provider, you can go to creativewriting.com/ConvertKit to get a free month. Now, here's a little bit about why I love ConvertKit. First of all, I don't think it's for everybody. It is very features heavy. So if you're someone you have one list, one group of people, you're sending one email once a week or once a month, and it's pretty straightforward and simple, then this has more power than you need. So you may be able to get by with something that's cheaper or even free, as some of the email service providers are free up to a certain number. ConvertKit works for me because I have a lot of live workshops I want people to be able to register for with one click instead of having to enter their email again. I have a lot of content upgrades, which are freebies that are tied to a particular post. And I have different welcome series for things, but I don't want somebody who's already on my list but gets a new content upgrade to get another welcome series as though they're not subscribed already. There are tons of wonderful uses and reasons to get ConvertKit. So if you're not sure if it's going to work for you, first of all, send me an email because I'm happy to answer your questions and tell you whether I think it's for you, or you could just get the free trial and see what you think. Take it for a test drive, see what it looks like from behind the steering wheel, so to speak. Again, that's at creativewriting.com/ConvertKit. So let's dive right in. And again, if you want to get the quick win worksheets, and if you want the 75-page blog, strategy guide, and planner for 2017 that I created totally for free, you can get that at creativewriting.com/kickstart. So each of these days of training relates to the big planner, but they're quick wins, so extra worksheets, because I want you to have that momentum. The whole planner, it's a really big thing. I usually take a couple hours and go through the relevant pages or the pages I feel like I really want to get kind of nailed down. But this week, I needed some quick wins. I don't know about you, but I needed to get focused. And my week really imploded. And so kind of as an encouragement to you guys, as I'm talking about not getting burdened down by resolutions, it really stunk for me to not have a podcast episode up every single day of the week. I meant to do weekdays, so Monday through Friday, but Wednesday did not happen because let me tell you about my household right now, you guys. I mentioned sometimes that I have 5 kids. We have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 7-week-old. And then on Monday, we got a puppy, a 6-week-old Great Dane puppy. So my life is really nuts. And I have people all the time saying, sending me these really sweet emails. They're saying, I can't believe how much you get done. I'm so impressed. You're my hero. And I just want to be like, no. You should really stop by for an hour. And you'll be like, oh, okay, no, you don't have it all together. Because life over here is crazy. And even though I kind of planned for this and had sort of, okay, this is when I'm going to do this and this is how it's going to work, it still didn't work, you guys. Today was one of those days that all of my plans just failed. When I had, the time that I was planning to send an email, the baby woke up and was hungry, and then the puppy needed to go out, and then I was trying to hold a baby and a puppy at the same time. It's just, you guys, it just did not work today. So I'm going to take the advice I've been giving you, which is, if you have a failure, you just keep going. Okay. I'm not thinking about it. I'm putting 2 podcast episodes together. I'm laughing about it because if I don't laugh, it's bad, right? So the way that my life is right now, if I don't laugh, it's kind of just not good. Okay. So I've got to laugh because it's overwhelming a little bit. And life has those seasons, and maybe you're in a season like that. Maybe you need to ignore the quick wins. Maybe you need to take a vacation after the holiday vacation because it was just too much for you. Family's overwhelming. If you have kids, having kids out of school for a couple of weeks is overwhelming. So whatever you need to do. But I hope you are encouraged, as I'm trying to encourage myself with the same words, to just move forward when you have a bump in the road or a setback. On to what's working for you and what has been working for you this year. So the planner is going to work for you like this. The overall big 75-page planner has a ton of different pages that talk more in depth about ROI, which is the return on investment. It kind of asks you to look at the analytics for your different social platforms and your blog in Google Analytics to really see what works for you. For this quick win, I'm asking you to do a more cursory overview. Maybe you don't dive as deep into Google Analytics. Maybe you just look at Jetpack and WordPress, even though those stats aren't the most accurate. They give you a ballpark. Maybe you just kind of eyeball it like, oh, I know that this worked for me. And then later you go look at the numbers and you might be surprised, but generally we all kind of know a little bit about what's working for us. So for this quick win, I want you guys to think about what is working on your blog. What posts are the ones getting the most shares? What's getting the most engagement? What are people coming to read? What has the highest traffic? Maybe there's a post that has a ton of content upgrade downloads where people are reading and actually downloading. Maybe you have a post with a content upgrade and no one is downloading. So think about what's working for you on your blog. Also think about where your traffic sources come from. And that's a really easy, just at a glance kind of thing. I can tell you right now, Pinterest, that's it for me, for both of my blogs, for my KirstenOliphant.com lifestyle blog and for creative writing. It's all about Pinterest. I do get some traffic from Facebook and a few other places, sometimes Google, but for the most part, it's Pinterest. For me, if I'm looking at that, here's what that says to me. I can either know that Pinterest is somewhere I need to invest more time because it's already working, or that maybe I need to stick with what I'm doing for Pinterest and then amp up something else, or even scale back on Pinterest and amp up something else. Maybe I need to amp up how Instagram's working for me. I totally stopped using Instagram this year because it got overwhelming. I didn't have enough time to do all my social media platforms and a podcast and an email list and all the stuff. So I said, hey, I like Instagram, but it's not doing much for me. I'm going to stop. But maybe what you need to do is actually consider working with what's already working or amping up and spending time and investing in something that maybe isn't working as well so that you're kind of diversifying your traffic streams. So that's something important to think about is you want to think about what's working and where you want to invest more time, and also what's not working that you want to be working, because we all have goals for the coming year and you might have some platforms that you want to invest in that currently aren't working well for you, but you want them to. SEO is an example of that for me. I bought an SEO course and I'm planning to work on that. The other thing you can look at is social media, not just what's sending traffic to your blog, but looking at social media platforms and considering what kinds of posts are working for you. On Facebook, what's working? On Twitter, what's working? Instagram, what's working? Pinterest, what's working? And that takes a little bit longer because it means diving into those platforms. But maybe for the quick win, you only want to look at your blog, okay, and just ignore this question altogether. Or maybe you want to look at your blog and the traffic sources, and then you want to pick a platform and consider what's working. That's really important. And then the last thing is you want to look at your investments. What investments worked? What investments didn't work? And the example I gave in the workshop that was in the live Facebook group was, for me, last year, at the beginning of the year when I was going through this planner, I was scaling back on the things that I was paying for every month that didn't do anything for me. Like maybe they were nice, but they weren't bringing in traffic. They weren't bringing in revenue. They weren't bringing in new followers. They weren't really doing anything. So my example for this is Pat Flynn's Smart Podcast Player, which I really love. And it was a tool that you can embed in my show notes and blog posts that would have like a really cool podcast player. It looks really sharp and pretty, and it has some other features in it. But the reality is nothing changed about my podcast in the few months that I used it. So I went ahead and got rid of that because it wasn't working for me and I was paying like $10 a month. So that's an example of like looking at what's working and what's not working so that you can either kind of double down, like something like Facebook ads. If those are working for you, maybe it's time to start spending more money and really scaling up. Or if you see something that's just dead weight that you're paying every month for, an example for me, I've known for months that I need to cancel my monthly payment to DPD, which is digital product delivery. It's a way that I deliver ebooks to people. And usually I only sell enough a month to barely cover that cost. And I can use something else free like WooCommerce or another option on my website without having to pay every month for DPD. Although if you're looking for a digital product delivery service and you're doing a lot of sales there, you can absolutely use DPD. I actually really like it. It's getdpd.com. So I like that. But for me, it's not working right now. So I can get rid of it and use something else. I already pay for some course software and I could actually just use that and implement that in the checkout carts there. So you need to think about what's working for your blog, what's working on social media, what investments are working. And that brings us to the next day is planning out your week. Now in the planner on page 69, I have a weekly plan and they're actually printable calendar pages. I had my husband make tons of copies. Well, not tons. I had to make 52, so I had one for each week. But on page 69, there's a general block of time for your week plan. It's just one page. And what the goal of that is for you to look at each day and think about what you're doing that day. For me, this is fairly easy because I have, again, a bunch of kids and they're not all in school. So I know on Mondays, I typically have something in the morning. I have mops or something at church. I'm just starting actually a phone bank to fight human trafficking with a local group here in Houston. And that will be Mondays. So Monday mornings are basically out. Mondays, really, I can't work until night. So I'm not planning a lot for Mondays. Tuesdays, my girls are in school, and Thursdays as well. So I will have just a baby and a puppy at home, which I'm learning is not super easy. So I still need somebody to come over if I'm doing a podcast episode and recording or an interview. But for the most part, I'm going to plan my podcast interviews for Tuesdays and Thursdays. Wednesday mornings, a lot of mornings, I do have some childcare from 9 to 12. So I can plan something that takes a couple of hours, like 2.5 hours maybe, on Wednesdays. But really, those are my only big chunks of time during the day. So that makes it easy for me because I can say, okay, my most important things I have to get done every week and I need quiet to do them. I can do in Tuesday, Thursday, and get a babysitter for the little baby for interviews and stuff. So she's not crying right at the moment that I'm interviewing somebody, or on Wednesdays. Maybe your schedule, you can kind of look and say, okay, these are the days I'm working my other job because this is my side hustle, or these are the days I have kids in school, or these are the days that I have a big chunk of time versus a little chunk of time. So I'm going to put something that needs a big chunk of time in that day. Looking at the week like this really helps me out because it helps me be organized. So I can say, okay, today's Monday. It's Monday night. This is the night that I schedule all my social media. And Wednesday morning, that's when I take batch photos for Instagram because apparently that's how Instagrammers do it, you guys. The people who are really successful do batching of photos. So that's what it looks like. And then you know what you're supposed to be doing at that time. So then if you have something like a doctor's appointment that you need to plan, you can look at your schedule and say, okay, I can't plan that for Tuesday because I'm going to be missing out on my most important part of the week. So I'm going to plan that for Wednesday because I can miss XYZ that fits into that slot. It helps you see an overall picture of your week. And then you're a little bit more able to kind of move things around and plan around your schedule based on what things you have happening each day. Now, how do you plan what happens each day? That goes back to the ROI, the return on investment. What platforms are you going to be using? How much time do you need to spend? Are you going to be writing a lot more blog posts this year? Are you going to be creating online courses? Are you going to be maybe spending less time on your blog and more time on creating great photos for Instagram, that will help you plan out your week because you're going to know, okay, I need to have this amount of time. So here's where that's going to fall is on this day. And that's going to really help kind of make your life more orderly. And I like it because it's not set in stone because as we all know, your week sometimes is just dependent on the crazy that happens. Maybe your car breaks down or you have a sick kid or your kids don't go back to school when you think they do, like me this week. I don't know what the problem is going to be, but you probably are going to have some problems. But having these big blocks of time and kind of having them scheduled out right in front of you helps you to know what you're doing when and actually get those things done. So that's one of my big goals. This week I haven't done all the quick wins because I've been doing the podcast episodes and actually creating the worksheets and some other stuff behind the scenes. So this is one I'm definitely doing because I need to see what my week looks like and put in the things that matter so I get them done. How about you? For today, your quick wins are double. You're going to look back and see what worked for you, and then you're going to look and plan your weekly calendar. So if you haven't already, you've got to sign up to get the worksheets that will help you do this, and then the bigger blog planner. That's kind of a long-term project, not just a this week project, to help you look at your overall social media, your blog, your email, your investments, just all of it, your income streams. So it's really important to get that to kind of do more. And on page 69 is where that weekly schedule is. So to get all that stuff, go to creativewriting.com/kickstart. This may be the last time I talk solely about the quick wins because I am launching a new weekly email. Well, that's not exactly true. My plan is to kind of revamp my weekly email. My weekly email is called The Quick Fix, and it's been going out on Thursdays for almost 2 years now. And it's a curated list of links and resources that I find helpful that I'm passing on to you. I decided recently that I really like the audio format, and I really kind of wish sometimes I could discuss with people the links that are in the emails. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start having my normal creative writing episodes drop on Monday with interviews or solo episodes like this one where I'm just talking to you guys. And then on Fridays, I'm going to have the quick fix. And what that means is I'm going to just have a very short, again, quick fix episode where I talk about the links that I share in the email. So if you are coming and listening and you're new and you're not subscribed, what I'm going to do is I will have an archive also in Workflowy, which is one of my favorite online tools. It's workflowy.com, and that's just workflow with a Y on the end.com. And so if people sign up, then they're going to get that. So it's not in place yet. So my goal is to start that tomorrow. But based on how my week has been, I may stick to the quick win and launch the quick fix. Lots of quicks here. That may be a problem that I have. But the quick fix may launch next week, just depending on how things go, because I feel like nothing would surprise me this week. Let's finish out the week strong, or just finish out the week. Sometimes it's just about finishing, even if you don't get it all done. A big thank you and shout out to Jasmine Commerce of JasmineCommerceMusic.com for the song that is in this show. She's an independent artist. Go give her some love and purchase her album. She has a beautiful voice. Love her songs. Huge fan. Go show her some support because she gives her music to the show. Thank you guys for listening. You can pick up that free month of ConvertKit by going to creativewriting.com/ConvertKit. And as always, I would love it if you guys leave a rating or review on iTunes because those help me have clout as a podcast. And I would really appreciate that. I know you guys are out there listening. I'm so glad to connect with you in the Facebook group or through email. Just however you guys talk to me, through tweeting. I've gotten some great tweets this week that I just really appreciate you guys listening and supporting me and supporting the show. Enjoy looking at what worked for you and planning out your week, and you will hear from me again tomorrow.